Hello, I am Heather Mackey. I'm the owner of Rare Bird Medicine. Today we are talking about your attention equals your life. That will be your life. Yay! An important question that I use to check in with myself often is, am I being separatist, judgmental, non-unified? Yeah, yes, I often am. That's not working for me based on who I want to be, who I say I want to show up as: inclusive, compassionate, understanding, forgiving, unconditionally loving. Unconditional love is an interesting topic because I think it can almost seem like something that is not possible to possess as a two-legged. It's tricky. I'll give you that. It's tricky. You know, with our beloved friend, the ego, our great labeler, it can move from discernment to judgment quite quickly and easily, as we've discussed. It can say, like, that's wrong, that's bad, that shouldn't be, that, you know, that person should already be evolved on that topic. So it's kind of a tricky realm down here, because we can become evolved in our own inclusiveness, and then from that evolved place of our own inclusiveness, in which we can include and allow for trans people to become part of our community and be safe and embraced in our community, and evolve to allow for a wide variety of skin colorations and cultural distinctions to be present in our environment. We can move towards a greater space of allowing. And from my perspective, to each their own, there is an evolution. You become evolved in allowing life to show up the way it does. And from that space of evolution can then become judgmental about anyone that hasn't become evolved in our own way. And it's ironic, because you could be very evolved about people of color, Black Lives Matter. You could be evolved about trans lives matter, and sexuality is an individual choice and right. And then be very biased and very judgmental and very righteous. Again, you could be biased against conservatives, judgmental about them, righteous about your opinion, or very judgmental. You become evolved in your own awareness of, like, okay, I'm not going to judge another race. Everyone has their own cultural indoctrination, and aspects of every culture have their own aspects of gifts and poison. And every individual person gets to choose whether they're going to offer medicine or poison down here. Like, on every topic, we get to choose whether we're going to go into separation and judgment, or unification and compassion and understanding. I just witness again and again and again, in myself and in others, because I always want to take ownership of how I show up in the matrix of quote unquote reality. if that's even what I'm doing. But I always want to be honest with myself about my own hubris, my own arrogance, my own righteousness. Because to me, hubris, arrogance, righteousness is what lends one's consciousness to separation, to separatistness. And that's how we step out of not only unification, but love and unconditional love. And putting our attention on the world we want to see for the life we live. So there is this watching, this witnessing I've been doing of somebody can become very evolved in their understandings of you know, people of color, Black lives, Indigenous lives matter, trans lives matter, you know, gay rights matter. And so you can wind up embracing all of these different components of life, but then you can go around using the words midget and retarded. It's called little person, not midget. My aunt is a little person, and I'm blessed with having someone in my family that's a little person that can help me to be present with the more compassionate way to speak about that paradigm. And, you know, retarded is a derogatory term, and not having reverence for somebody that maybe has autism, or maybe is walking, potentially they're still walking and they have cerebral palsy, and you just go, oh, that's retarded. But yet you're progressive in these other arenas, and then you think that like you're so evolved, but actually in certain arenas of life, you're still being biased, you're still being ignorant. And so I'm always wanting to look at like, how can I be more compassionate, more accepting, more allowing of my own and other people's evolution and growth. I do not want the entire world to be liberal. Now, when I was younger, I did. I was like, hello, if we could all get liberal, then we would be right. Then we would be, you know, if all the whenever all the humans get liberal, we'll have peace on earth. And how much arrogance for me to think that. How much hubris, how much righteousness, how much separatist thinking. Because all of history is always offered those that are more conservative in their thinking and those that are more liberal in their thinking. And really with anything, everything's a double-sided coin and has the positive and negative manifestation of that given way of being. So today we're talking about your attention equals your life. And I've really been, my friend Lily, we traded, she gave me an art class in exchange for tarot. Love trading gifts. I love the concept of trade as a general rule anyhow. Her art class was phenomenal. She's a beautiful Virgo woman that is an art teacher. So she offered me all these opportunities of like, you can get your supplies here or there. She just taught me so much in different techniques. And so then I gave her a tarot reading. And in that tarot reading, she said something that struck me in such a way. Certain things, when people say them, I'm like, oh my God, that's going to shake in the web of my life forever. And this is one of those things. I love it when there is a mirroring going on. She was talking to me about art and about how light is cast here on this portion of my face. It's cast across my knuckles. It's cast on the rim of my glasses. And then you can see the shadow or the shade or the darkness of my hair or the darkness in my mouth or my nostrils or my iris. You know, you can see even as I move my hands how shadow and light play in the room. And she had mentioned from an artistic standpoint, if the room was full of light, you wouldn't be able to see me. You would just hear my voice talking. If the room was full of shade, if it was full of blackness, you wouldn't be able to see me. You would just hear me talking. But it's the contrast of this illumination in my glasses and along the side of my face and the shadow and the light on my nose. It's that contrast that actually causes me to be something that you see as I speak. And in that same vein, when she said that, I was like, oh my goodness. Yes, it is the shadow and the light here. It is the love and the fear here at Earth School that causes us to see what a given thing or lesson is. And both are teachers. Fear and love are both teachers. Light and shadow are both teachers. It is, you know, it is the darkness that gestates a seed to become a fruit-bearing tree. It is the darkness, it is the void that holds all the planets and stars in place. It is, you know, and it is the light. It is the light that illuminates what things are, helps us to see what things are. So if your attention becomes your life, for me, what I'm always looking to do is to find the places where my attention has chosen to get in separation. And I see it in a lot of places. Like you could be trans and think, wow, people should really be compassionate about me being trans and what that experience is like and what hells I've had to face. And then you can go judge a comedian and call them transphobic and be judgmental of them and not try to understand them or their viewpoint, that their context is, this is comedy. I'm making fun of everybody. My type of comedy is make fun of all cultures, all ways of being. I'm just trying to laugh at life. I'm like the fool card. And then you can go in and judge that comedian and be like, that comedian's transphobic. And you're judging and you're separating and you're cramming people into a box while you ask people to not put you in a box. You know, so I'm always looking at each little thing of like, where do we shift from asking the world to be more free and open and understanding of our perspective, and yet we also, as we do that, choose to be oppressive where people don't hold our perspective? And is it possible that there are places where arenas of learning in the matrix of existence where people have not evolved? You know, the stages of growth they taught me in the school of metaphysics are infancy, adolescence, adulthood, and wisdom. Is it possible that there are people here at Earth School that are in wisdom or in adulthood in certain levels of understanding of compassion and offering freedom of expression, and yet they go back into infancy when they use their attention to look at others that aren't where they are in their evolution? It's so interesting to me that we can become intelligent, evolved, we can evolve in our own awareness, and then sometimes as we stand in that elevated place of, from my attention, I've chosen love and grace, I've chosen compassion, but then we can become superior and say, well, you're being ignorant, you're being, you know, racist, homophobic, transphobic, blah, 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 you know. And so for me, I always want to go back to, I don't want to be racist or homophobic or transphobic. I don't want to be biased as a liberal that Republicans shouldn't exist. I don't want to be biased at all. I don't want to be biased about any of it. I want life to have the freedom to show up however it's going to show up, and to trust that if that life over there is being non-evolved, that it can and will. And I don't have to be the steward of it getting there, but I'm certainly the steward of my own evolution, of my own growth. Where are my blocks to the awareness of love's presence? Where have I decided to judge? Where have I decided to separate? Where have I decided to say, you can't be that? Where am I saying in my consciousness, like, you need to be, everybody should be evolved on all these topics that I'm evolved on? And where am I being blind to where I'm not evolved and could actually stand to be less sensitive, more open, more receptive to different ways of being in others, just like I want people to be receptive to my different ways of being. My ways of being are not right. They are ways of being. They are labels, the ways I've chosen to express this thing that we call Heather Mackey. And your labels and your ways that you describe and find yourself are the ways that you be your beautiful, sacred, wonderful, unique, distinct matrix. And if you had everything that I have, and if you chose and agreed with everything I choose and agree to, and if everyone in the world did that, there would be no uniqueness. There would be no diversity. There would be no evolution to garner. So I want to give everything the freedom and the permission to grow in its own time, in its own way, and to the best of my ability to choose my attention to be placed on that which I want to see each day. Mama Mackey would always say, what you put your attention on grows. May your attention, to the best of its ability, choose union, love, and most importantly, compassion for that which is not where you stand and tend to be. Bright blessings to you and yours.